Now, Deputy Boyd-Barrett.
Taoiseach, no doubt you hoped that the Easter break would give you a bit of respite from the rage and the despair that people are feeling at the cruel and stupid decision that your government made to lift the eviction ban. But for thousands and thousands of families and individuals, the issue is not going to go away, because they are facing notice to quit, they are facing eviction, and they have nowhere to go. There's no social housing available for them, there's no affordable rental available for them, there's no affordable purchase available for the vast, vast majority of them. And you, at the time that you justified this cruel decision, you trumpeted the fact that during the period of the ban there had been a dramatic increase in the delivery of social housing at the end of 2022. But now we have the facts. And the facts do not suggest that you used the period of the eviction ban to improve things in any significant way. They show an absolute abject failure on the part of the government to deliver even on its own targets of social housing or on affordable housing. You're 1,500 short of your own target on social housing and 3,000 short on your target of affordable housing. And you then continue to recycle the spin. You see, we need to call you out on this, Taoiseach. You said, we built 30,000 houses last year. We built 7,500 council houses. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We, if you look at the actual local authority delivery, what the state itself built, it built 2,800. 2,800. In Dublin, the epicentre of the housing crisis, it built 546. In Dunleary Rathdown last year, 2 council houses. 2 council houses. That's with a list of 5,000 households on the list. Nationally, 120,000, the AHB are buying their housing from private developers. You see, that's the reality. The bulk of the so-called social housing is actually private developers. You're still depending on the private developers, you're paying them extortionate prices, and they are charging for the stuff they're delivering extortionate rents that nobody can afford. That is the actual reality. I'll tell you how bad, even on the affordable housing. I got a call this week from a teacher who said he's over the threshold for social housing, but he's not eligible for the cost rental that is now being advertised in Delgany because he doesn't earn enough. Right? So even the cost rental scheme isn't actually addressing the needs of the people to whom it's supposed to apply. Right? Your housing policy is in rag order. Absolute rag order. So reinstate the eviction ban until you actually get your act together and deliver the social and affordable housing we need to address this housing crisis.
Thanks, Deputy. There's more to the state than local authorities and councils. Even if you go back to the 1950s or 60s, the state used housing trusts and approved housing bodies to help build social and public housing, like, for example, the Ivy Trust and many other examples. So there's nothing new about that. What you're trying to do is spin the figures yourself, Deputy. You're trying to say that the state is only local authorities. The state is the public, the state is the taxpayer, and what's funded by the taxpayer is done by the state. So that includes local authorities, it includes approved housing bodies that receive almost all of their funding from the state, Deputy. It includes Part 5, and it includes the Land Development Agency. And in addition to that, we help people to purchase their own homes in the private sector through schemes like Help to Buy and through schemes like First Home and through other schemes that give people grants to bring derelict homes back into use. That is all paid for the taxpayer, it's all public money, and in my view, it is all the state.
Deputy Boyd-Barrett.
Taoiseach, don't get me wrong, I know AHBs contribute to the provision of social housing. And indeed, I'm in favour, especially when we've got a €10 billion surplus, of you buying up a lot of the new developments which otherwise are going to be rented at extortionate levels. We're swimming in money, use that money to buy up the houses of people threatened with eviction and to buy up some of the new developments that would otherwise be rented out at extortionate levels or bought by wealth asset management companies who are going to sweat people with racketeering rents. But you have to ask the question, how have you failed to miss your targets? And the big missing piece is the failure of the councils. The actual state delivery is pathetic. It's way below its targets. We are not building on the public land. In many cases, even the land that is zoned and earmarked for social housing hasn't even been serviced, Dara. It hasn't even been serviced to provide the housing in our area, big swathes of land. So there is a problem. The government does not want to go back to the direct provision of council housing. Instead, it wants to rely on the private sector, and that is at the root of our problem.
Thank you very much. Taoiseach.
Thanks, Deputy. That's not the case. We want local authorities to build more. We want the approved housing bodies to build more. We want the LDA to build more. We're not ideological about this, Deputy. What we care about is not ideology, it's outcomes for people, and anyone who can build housing for us, well, then we're interested in talking to them, and that's local authorities, it's approved housing bodies, like the Ivy Trust, for example, it's the LDA, it's whoever can do it, we're interested in talking to them because we understand the depth of this crisis, Deputy. And again, in relation to our targets, over 30,000 new homes in Ireland were built last year, not including student accommodation or derelict homes back into use. That was us exceeding the most important target. And again, the thing that gives me the most encouragement, we're now seeing 350, 400 first-time buyers now every week, Deputy. We haven't seen that since the Celtic Tiger period, certainly not since 2010. 300, 400 first-time buyers every week. And there's a motion in the Dáil today to take away Help to Buy, to take away First Home, to make things harder for first-time buyers. And I'm asking everyone in this House to speak against and vote against that Sinn Féin motion.
Deputy